Two shows down, one show to go here on Vidane TV. Just in time to watch the green flag here for the Peachtree 150 Lugz Cup Series, trying to crown themselves a champion here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us here tonight on Vidane TV. Ed Boyles Jr. getting the restart of the start that he needed. Kenny Capola starting on the outside of row number one, finds himself in third, but he's very quickly going to try and get that spot back from Tim Wortman Jr. There you see him on the inside in that 000 car. The beautiful car right in behind him, the 52 Drew Moffitt. Great to see that paint scheme on board that car past couple of weeks or so. Getting a little bit dicey up towards the front, but for the most part, everybody single file lap number one. Take a quick little look here at the running order on the left-hand side of the screen. Boyles, Capola, Wortman, Moffitt, Mackin up in the top five or so. Wortman slipping back just a little bit in that 000 car. You can see all the way down on the bottom side of the apron, but he's going to collect it back up, buying himself a spot in the sixth position. Now before losing a couple of spots, you can see all these drivers pretty much single file up towards the front for the front 7 positions or so. Hume and Bonifield trying to make a little something happen and draw themselves up towards the front. They're all chasing down that 5 car, the Hatter Motorsports entry, though, of Ed Boyles Jr. and Kenny Capola, the man on fire, absolutely on a roll as of late here, winning the last race on a road course with a broken freaking ankle. How about that for Kenny Capola in the 77? Running in second right now, and he's making that car already high, wide, and handsome, trying to make a little magic happen up there on the top side here from Peachtree 150 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Want to thank everybody again for tuning in here tonight on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitch, all the different social media outlets. Be sure to give us a like, a subscribe, a follow, all that good stuff, and let your friends and family know that you're watching a little bit of iRacing action here on a Wednesday night. 4 races to go after this in this season, and these guys know that business is about to get picked up here. We've got a couple of drivers that have locked themselves into the championship round of 8. Capola has won. Boyles and Bowen, they've all advanced into the next round, the round of 8. Tim Wortman Jr. in that 000 car. We see him at 16 points up above that bubble spot in the 4th position. Ruff, 9 points up. Bonifield, 6 points up. Douthwaite is up 4, and Hume is up 3. Chris Beer right now currently on the outside looking in, currently running in the 9th position on track. Also 9th in points, has to gain 3 spots, 3 points to get himself locked into the round of 8. Moffitt is in the 10th position. He needs 5 points. Cook, 7 points out in battles, 14 points out, and a tough road to get up, but uphill climb to say the very least for all these drivers, but they want to be in that championship hunt here in a couple of weeks' time here, the very last week of January. Going to be crowning ourselves a champion here, Season 2 for the Lugz Cup Series. Ed Boyles, Kenny Capola, still a 2-man show up front. Wayne Bowen, though, back in the 3rd position, leading a little bit of a charge there in the 11th FedEx ride. He runs 3rd. He's got himself 5 spots up. Him and Guy Bonifield, both the biggest gainers, 5 spots each, 10 spots if you add them together. Matt Mackin in the 9th car holding on to the top 5 as well as Tim Wortman Jr. in the 000, Keith Hume down up on the top side. Guy Bonifield down on the bottom side in the 33, trying to make a little magic happen. Dropping a few spots. He's going to be in the 8th position. Chris Beer, Dave Douthwaite, a couple of championship contenders rounding out the top 10, and you can see all these drivers still in the championship hunt. A couple of cool paint schemes there on the 34 and the 7 car, but you'll be able to see all these different drivers have the yellow banners across the top of the windshield. They've got the yellow spoilers. Those are the drivers that are still, the 12 drivers that are still eligible for the championship. And as after this race, we're going to get hooked up with the race officials and league officials and get that graphic, at least the point standings on your screen to let you know what to look forward to next Wednesday night as we get closer and closer to championship time. He's the butt kicker number 7. Beautiful things here for Chris Spear on the outside, and the 8 car making it happen. The Goodyear ride for Kevin Ruff, getting around all those positions, sliding into the 11th spot. Now setting his sights on a top 10 run, but up front, a little bit more of the same. Ed Boyles Jr. holding on in that 5 car. Kenny Capola right in his tire tracks, just a few car lengths back as they cross the stripe here for lap number 10. Wayne Bowen still in behind them in 3rd. Matt Mackin, Tim Wortman Jr. rounding out the top 5. Keith Hume, Drew Moffitt, Guy Bonifield, Dave Douthwaite, and Jamison Middlemiss in the 16 car. Rounding out the top 10 so far, Kevin Ruff, Colin Zener, Michael Miller, Bobby Justice, and Chris Spear dropping all the way back to 15th. We'll see if we can take a peek. It doesn't look like there's too much damage on that race car, but it must have been a little bit of a mishap there for Spear as he drops back, and that is not what he needs. He needs to get up towards the front, try and win this race and lock himself in, but he comes in tonight 3 points outside of the championship top 12, so he needs to have himself a good run. And speaking of good runs, how about it, man? Boyles and Coppola 1 and 2, and Coppola's starting to close the door just a little bit. "11 laps in here at Atlanta." Again, show number 3 here tonight, and we're waiting a little bit of a travel issue here with our good friend Tim Terry. Helped us out with the NEPS All-Star race. Just got done with 20 laps at Daytona. Saw a great racing action there, and then we had the Tim's Corner Motorsports episode number 44 of TCM Live as we see Coppola going down low, trying to make a little bit of magic happen and get himself to the point. He's got it right there. He's going to try a slide job, get up in front of Ed Boyles, and there you can see it. The Sasquatch man himself has slid himself into the P1 spot, and that is a dangerous spot for him to be in for the rest of the field, because once Kenny Coppola gets himself on a roll, he does not stop. He's a fast driver and big-time momentum driver as well. Won the last 2 races here in the season. He's P1 in the points, advanced to the round of 12, and he wants that championship trophy. He's going to do everything he can to get it. And there you can see, definitely appears that clean air is exactly what the doctor ordered for that number 77 car. Able to pull away quite a bit, almost a full second, 3/4 of a second now, over our second place driver, Ed Boyles Jr., who now has a mirror full of the 11 Wayne Bowen trying to get up and take that P2 spot away. And there you can see again, the cream, always rises to the top. A couple of championship drivers, triplets of championship drivers that have found themselves up towards the top. They've got those yellow banners on the top, and you can look at the points. Coppola locked in, P1. Bowen locked in, P2. Boyles locked in, P3. Crazy to see that the 3 drivers that are advancing to the round of 12 already, no matter what happens here tonight at Atlanta, are running 1, 2, 3 here tonight. So if you were going to pick yourself a championship contender for this race, I would definitely pick from one of these 3 drivers. Drew Moffitt back there in 4th, and in the 5th position being held on to by Keith Hughes Sr., the number 1 car. But Wayne Bowen, man, up 6 spots from where he qualified, and Bobby Justice up 7 spots. Haven't talked about Bobby too much in the 2 car. Finds himself currently in the 13th spot, but he started back in P20, so having himself a good steady climb there in the Discount Tire number 2 car. A little Brad Keselowski throwback. Pretty cool with the news coming up for the Keselowski camp. But Kenny Coppola having a great run. Wayne Bowen slipping in back, or going back into that number 2 spot. Ed Boyles slipping on back to 3rd. Hume and Moffitt to top 5. And one of the things that we got to talk about is the Bounty Hunter Challenge. It's up to $110. Vinane TV wanted to spice things up just a little bit, and well, we missed a couple of broadcasts for these guys. Kind of felt bad, so figured we'd throw our money where the mouth is. We added a $50 bill to the pool for the Bounty Hunter, and that's for any driver throughout the rest of the season that's not in the playoff hunt. If you're able to come home with the victory, you get to leave the racetrack with that Bounty Hunter Challenge, and it goes up each and every week that we have one of these championship contenders win a race here, and we can see championship contenders all over the top 10 throughout the field here with those yellow banners. And that Bounty Hunter Challenge is up to $110. So that is not anything to shake a stick at, and looking forward to see if anybody can come up here and steal the spotlight. But man, you look through the top 6 drivers so far as we kind of cycle on through 7 drivers, 8 drivers. Top 8 drivers are championship contenders. The first driver that's outside that's not a championship contender is going to be Matt Mackin in that 9 car. Dropped out strong early on, but there you can see Kevin Ruff. He's going to get around it. So make it the top 9 now. Championship contenders. A little bit of off incident there from Middlemiss in the 16 car. Racing for wins, racing for that Bounty Hunter Challenge, but still having a good show of it. And there's a good shot of the racetrack as these drivers get further and further along into the race, the tires start to wear a bit. You can see a lot of those rubber balls starting to build up on the high side of the track, and it's going to be interesting as this race goes on, as it gets further and further in. The rubber buildup on the high side kind of makes it a little bit squirrely up there, so these drivers might try and shy away from that just a little bit, unless you're that 77 car. Kenny Coppola on a tear here the past couple of weeks, off last week for the Christmas holiday. We hope everybody enjoyed it. Hammered down through the end of the year. Oh, big wiggle, big slide for the 77. He holds on to it, but that's going to close the gap for Wayne Bowen in that 11 car, and you can see the ticker sliding on down 3/4 of a second is the lead now. Dropped quite a bit after that big slide, but was able to hold on to it as we cross the stripe for lap number 21. Just about a quarter way distance, and it looks like the Jets finally landed. We're going to have to figure something out when we do these trifecta shows here, Tim. Our travel plans are all messed up.
Yeah, just a little bit, but it's great to see these guys. I haven't seen Lugz in a while, so it's great to be up here and watching these guys. And Kenny Coppola looks like he's got a decent-sized advantage, but Bowen trying to close the gap after that little slide from the leader, and he closed in a lot of the gap, but now Coppola is back in a groove, back in a rhythm, and working his way a little bit closer to reestablishing the over 1 second gap that he had.
Yeah, and very excited to be running as well here. We've talked to Kenny a couple of times here in the booth, both on track, off track, away from the track, and kind of texted back and forth, and he's amped up. There's a lot of excitement building in the 77 camp, and knows he's got the momentum on his side right now. It's we've already mentioned it a couple of times here on the show here, Tim. He won a road course race 2 weeks ago here on Verdane TV with a broken ankle. Like, who does that?
It takes a lot of dedication to do what you do, and especially to run up front like Kenny has been doing. And for the most part, these guys have found a comfortable place to race. I think the only side-by-side battles back here for about 5th place, Tim Wortman Jr. Going at it and trying to pick up a spot, or check that right behind him. That's Keith Hummer and the 34 car. Going side-by-side. Everybody else is single file right now and just trying to log some laps here. And smart strategy, and I know you mentioned, I caught off when I came back in when the jet landed, that you were talking about tire wear, and that's going to be a big thing here this evening, especially with these cup cars and trying to not burn the rubber off these race cars early and trying to conserve.
Yeah, we saw that big slide from Kenny Coppola a few laps ago, and we're really not that far into, well, maybe halfway through a run here, so that definitely the handling is changing on these cars just a little bit, but as we get further and further on into a run, definitely going to loosen these cars up just a little bit. And you can see right now everybody given plenty of room here. We're looking at Dave Douthwaite there in the 34 car running in the 6th position, and he is trying to get up a little bit further, trying to close onto the back bumper of Wortman, who's in the top 5. And you can see again a sea of yellow windshield banners here. Lots of championship drivers up here towards the front. Looks like the top 9 drivers still in the championship hunt. Bobby Justice, the first driver outside of the championship playoff drivers, running in 2nd. He's running 10th, and it actually looks like we got a couple of drivers peeling off pit road here, so we're going to put a pin in that. We're going to try and cover some of these pit stops. Kenny Coppola, Wayne Bowen, Ed Boyles Jr., Keith Hume, Gavin Ruff, Matt Mackin, all down on pit road for green flag pit stops.
Yeah, I was watching Ed Boyles Jr. prior to that pit stop that he's making currently down there on pit road, and he was the guy that seemed to be on the move and picking up positions, but as you mentioned, pulling the pin, coming down into pit road, and the 1 car is going to miss his box, and that's Keith Hume Sr., and having a tough way to get into the box. I'm going to lose a little bit of time down there on pit road. Your leader is scored as the 52, but I believe he may be on pit road here.
Still staying out on track, going to try and lead himself another lap, and that's still one of the coolest paint schemes I think I've seen here on Verdane TV. Definitely up in the top 3, and we're going to mention Brett Suggs' name because he's always got some phenomenal paint schemes, especially around the Christmas time. He had that 1 car that was shiny wrapping paper, which was pretty neat. Tim Wortman Jr., Dave Douthwaite, Michael Miller down on pit road, getting some service to those machines. There you see the Hendrick Motorsports 48 entry, 4 tires, and Sunoco race fuel. He'll be down and away. Drew Moffitt going to give up that lead in the 52 car to Guy Bonifield, the new leader, as he comes down at pit road. Same order for this driver. Going to be coming down solo, it looks like. 4 tires, Sunoco race fuel in the 52.
So maybe this is where we start to see some pit strategy being played out. Guy Bonifield is your leader, and I believe he threw the handout the last time by. He's low on the back straightaway, and it's either he's letting these guys go by or he's coming to pit road. And I would believe with the speed that he has, Paul, he may be throwing the hand out the window to come down to pit road this time by. We'll see if the car decides to come down. And actually, I'm looking at the leader and the second place car is coming down on pit road too. Bobby Justice. I was actually watching that second place battle, Bobby trying to let those guys go by and try to balance on old tires, trying to get it down to pit road, and try to make sure he doesn't overshoot the box. And mission accomplished for Bobby Justice. He'll get into the pit lane, get his service done. Jamison Middlemiss is now doing.
Yeah, and I don't know if Colin Ziemer was planning on pitting this lap, but, he's going to be pitting this lap. You saw a little bit of contact between he and Middlemiss as the 5 car of Ed Boyles Jr. with new tires came through and passed both drivers on the bottom side. Ziemer's actually going to stay out. Lead himself a lap here. Everybody else coming down pit road. Middlemiss in the 16 car coming down pit road. He's going to hope for a caution. He's got to have a little bit of right side damage there. A little bit of a scuff mark on the 32, not so bad. But he's going to stay out on the racetrack at least for one more lap here, Tim, and you can see everybody else starting to come off. And this is where it gets sketchy. This is where it gets dangerous because we've got some guys that are still out on track. I want to say Ziemer and Spear, maybe Eller. Some of these drivers, maybe the top 7 drivers or so, have not come down pit road just yet. And we got a handful of drivers that have 4 fresh tires, and they are bad fast. There you see the McDonald's number 23 car, Ken Ellert coming down, Derek Cook in the 14, his teammate behind him, Josh Battles in the 41. They're going to come down and get some tires and fuel. We're still green flag racing here, lap number 31. How about Colin Ziemer holding on to the lead?
Yeah, the cycle working through at pit stops, and I'm sure he's hoping to go a little bit further and maybe cut this race into 2 if he can, but you can see the tires compared to everybody else, and he's going to pull that car down into pit road. So lap 31, end of 31. Ooh. Hello, 1 car behind him almost had a moment. That is definitely an unsafe pit entrance. We're going to stay green, though. He's going to come down into pit road. Almost the same move that Matt Mackin made a couple laps ago. Matt was trying to avoid some of those cars coming down into pit road, and he had to lock it up and get sideways to avoid them. So we talked about the tire strategy and the pit strategy. It's not only what you do on pit road, it's how you get onto pit road that makes the difference. I think the field has kind of cycled through here, and Wayne Bowen going to go back to the top.
11 car back up top, Coppola back in the 2nd spot, Boyles running in 3rd, Wortman and Ruff to top 5, and that is exactly what Chris Spear needed to not do. No mistakes here tonight. Came in on the outside looking in. Currently came into the evening 9th place in points, 3 points outside of that 8th place, and that's tonight's when we close the doors on everybody outside of the top 8. They're still going to be able to race each and every week for the 4 remaining races here, but only 8 drivers going to be racing for that championship. And we made mention earlier on here, Tim, looks like Ed Boyles still in the top 3, so Coppola, Boyles, Bowen, they're all advancing on to the next round, the round of 8. Bowen, Coppola, and Boyles. Oh, nope, Wortman got in there for the top 3. 3 guys locked in to the playoffs here, running 1, 2, 3 here at Atlanta. So Cream definitely rising to the top, and there you can see a little 3-way dance for that 3rd position. Kevin Ruff joining Tim Wortman Jr. trying to get around Ed Boyles Jr. in the 5.
A great little battle as they go side by side, working at a corner number 2. The 0-0 of Wortman going to pick up the position of slide at a corner number 2, and slides up ahead and will try to work his way a little bit closer towards the field in front of him. Boyles in the 5 had a really good longer run race car. Really came on strong at the end of that first run. So keep your eye on that 5 at about lap 50 or so, or 45, getting closer to what would be the 2nd round of pit stops for most of these guys, because the 5 might have a little bit more than those guys, but with the tires the way they cycle out, it's anybody's game right now as they continue to work around here. We'll complete 35 this time by all green flag.
Great racing action all the way around the racetrack, and pardon me, for the most part, everybody on a similar strategy, coming down pit road within 3 to 4 laps of each other. Everybody taking 4 tires here. You can see the 8 taking a peek down the 5 car, and that kind of throws it back 15 years where we would see Dale Earnhardt Jr., Kyle Busch race back and forth in those cars. And that's one of the cool things about the Lugz Cup Series. They run NASCAR Cup teams and paint schemes and sponsors and all sorts of stuff like that. So we've mentioned it in the past, and it kind of got on the back burner, but that's something we want to keep in mind here as we get in here for the final 4 races of the Lugz Cup Series season number 2. All the Hendrick Motorsports guys are going to run together. The Richard Childress Racing, the Spear Motorsports guys, they're all going to race with each other. And it's cool to see. And there's a lot of different paint schemes. Some guys are taking some throwback paint schemes, throwing some real-life sponsors on them to kind of mash everything together. And we made mention, Tim, we love seeing that. We just got done with the NEPS guys. They were all running short-track paint schemes at the big stage at Daytona International Speedway. And this is all stuff you can do at iRacing.com. I'm pretty sure new members are still 50% off for the holiday sale, the Black Friday, Christmas sale, or what have you. Definitely check it out. This is something you want to do. Everybody in this race is sitting at a computer chair or in a built sim racing rig, as it's been coined. And everybody's kind of racing from their computers. So if you've got something set up, you want to try this out, get you a steering wheel, iRacing.com, let them know that Dane TV sent you, and you too could be running side by side here for a top 5, trying to get yourself a championship with Lugz Cup Series.
And these guys still battling it out, and the 5 on the inside line now, or check that the outside line, battling with the 8 and the 34, and trying to make it happen here. The one thing that I didn't see, Paul, is I believe, I could be wrong, I think these guys are running realistic weather. At least there's a little bit of a variation in between. We saw some cloud come over the front straightaway a couple laps ago, and the track temperature is still 114 degrees. They're racing this race in the middle of the day, albeit the date is set in March, so there's a little bit of, I don't want to say it's March, so it's a little bit cooler than it would be, let's say, in July or August. But not only are these guys having to get the tire wear down and figure that out, we got one slow coming off the pit road there, but these guys are having to handle the heat of the racetrack in the middle of the day, and they're sliding around too, so save your tires, don't burn them off, and oh, by the way, make sure you keep them underneath you at all times.
And this is kind of where it shows how much these guys have been practicing throughout the week here. There's an hour of, of final practice that these guys all run together. And gives them an opportunity to see how the cars are going to react against each other, next to each other, behind, in front, all that good stuff. But a lot of times, the 52 up into the wall, Drew Moffitt slams the outside wall, had it all collected. Chris Spear is there to finish him off. That, I believe, is going to bring out our very first caution here on lap number 41. 9 laps shy of halfway. Drew Moffitt finds himself in a little bit of a pickle.
And we'll roll back the Kong Beer Bong instant replay to see what brought out the first caution flag of the evening here for the Lugz Cup Series. And again, it was right around this battle that's been intense the last couple laps.
Yeah, intensity definitely getting picked up here. There's a little 3-wide action for your viewing pleasure, and you can see a little side-by-side action. The 52 just kind of slaps the outside wall, had it almost corrected up, tried to get it straightened out without coming down to the 23, and unfortunately nowhere for the Spear machine, the number 7 to go, and just kind of gets into the back quarter panel. So big-time contact for the 52. Looks like a little bit more damage on the 7 car as well, and Chris Spear really has an uphill battle. Currently scored the first car 1 lap down in 19th. No, not the first car 1 lap down, but he is definitely scored in 19th. So looks like the light on that championship trophy getting dimmer and dimmer, as it were. But man, oh man, pit stops once again. Ken Ellert's going to stay out on track in that 23 car. I believe he's the free pass car. Everybody up here in the top 11 coming down pit road. Colin Ziemer is going to come down as well. Derek Cook, looks like everybody, once they catch up to the back of the field here, is going to come down pit road, get some service to their machines here, Tim.
And looking at this right now, 25 to 30, we saw a couple of drivers go as far as 30 on their pit strategy, as I believe Wayne Bowen is going to be the first one off of pit road. Great stop for the number 11. So we're at lap 43 right now. You had 25 to that. You're at 68. You're on the outer reaches. If this thing was to go green the rest of the way, you're on the outer reaches of making it on 1 stop. And I think with the way the math would go down with less than 60 laps to go, you'd almost have to try to make it on 1 stop if this thing goes green the rest of the way. So we are within that window of these guys needing 1 more stop before we throw the checkered flag. So it throws another curveball into the strategy here this evening at Atlanta. And Wayne Bowen, quick stop, going to be the first one out.
Yeah, and those top three guys that have been up in the top three all night long, Bowen, Coppola, Boyles, all three of those drivers advancing on to the round of 8 here. 4 races to go in the championship season, and they're really trying to spoil it for the guys that are in this Bounty Hunter Challenge. Anybody outside of these 12 drivers that are still in the championship hunt have the opportunity to win that Bounty Hunter Challenge. $110 right now, and it goes up each and every week that prize is not claimed, and that's going to be for the first driver outside of the playoff contention to come home with a victory here. And it's going to get interesting over the next couple of weeks, because after this week we go from 12 to 8, and then after 3 more races we drop it down to 4. So it really gives these drivers outside of the championship contention to steal the spotlight from some of these guys that have the yellow banners and try and come home with a victory. A little bit of coin in the pocketbook as well.
Absolutely. You need that little bit of extra incentive for some of those drivers. It might be outside that might have missed the mark a little bit, so there'll be a couple more that are looking to take away the bounty after we go racing next week, and obviously new year on the calendar. But still the same points chase when it comes to these guys in the Cup Series, as the field will work around 3 and 4. I believe the lights will go out next time by, so we'll be getting back to going racing in another lap or so and get to that halfway point, or get closer to that halfway point in this race. It's been a great race so far, and one thing I was looking at tires in this race, tires set. So if they took tires on that stop and they took tires on the green flag stop, they should have 2 more sets of tires in the pits, which, Paul, I think that works out relatively well as the wave around cars go around the pace car, and we should be doubling up here.
Yeah, lights off on the iRacing pace car, and going to give the front position back to Bowen, who looks like he's going to elect to take that top side, and that's where a lot of the racing action happens here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. So high side is the preferred line right now. Kenny Coppola down in the bottom side. Fast all season long, and this second half of the season, man, that 77 car absolutely on rails, and he wants to get himself a championship trophy for sure. Tim Wortman Jr. In the 00 car, he runs third at Boyles, Cabin Ruff, the top 5, Douthwaite, Bonifield, Justice, Hume, and Miller, the top 10. And how about the drive for Bobby Justice in that 2 car? Steadily climbing on up through the field. He's currently running in at the 8th spot on the outside there. 12 spots gained from where he qualified in that discount tire, a number 2 Mustang. Having himself a good run, setting his sights on the top 5, and he's got 55 laps to try and do it as we get ready to cross the stripe. So close to halfway.
And still plenty of time, as you mentioned, to get it done, especially if you're at the front half of this field and try to set yourself a pace. The 11 chooses the outside. We are green, and the field will roll down into corner number 1 with the 0-2 Junior on the back bumper, almost to the inside as he takes that little look down below the number 11. Their top 5 so single file to back.
And we mentioned in almost every race we have here in iRacing and the Vinane TV, this is this part of the race where these guys are going to do a little bit of homework, do a little bit of studying, a little bit of apron there for the 11 car. That's going to give the advantage to Tim Wortman Jr. Slides up in front of him, up into the outside wall, 3 wide for the lead as we cross the stripe. Wortman drops a couple of spots. Kenny Coppola going to come across the stripe as the leader, and you see Wortman still trying to hold on to that race car. Some big-time right side damage, and you can see he can't get that front end to stick in the racetrack. Very, very loose up on the high side there for Tim Wortman Jr.
Yeah, Bowen got somebody on the back straightaway here. They're both to the inside. We're going to stay green, but Wayne Bowen tagged. I'm not get a number on that one, Paul. My eyes are a little bit worse than they used to be. We're going to stay green flag racing here. Oh, there's the caution flag. Caution flag flowing in the back straightaway for those two. And we'll queue up the Kong Beer Bong instant replay and see what happened there. But Wayne Bowen went from the penthouse to the outhouse in just a couple laps here.
Yeah, and we'll take a peek here at, again, the Kong Beer Bong instant replay. And Guy Bonifield in the 33 is who made contact, or who the contact was with the 11 car. We're watching it now on the replay. You can see the 11 up in that middle groove, holding on to it. Gets a little bit of a run here from Guy Bonifield and just gets right into the back quarter panel on the left-hand side. Gets that 33 spun on around. Damage to the 11, damage to the 33, and we did end up getting the caution flag for that incident. So that's good news for those drivers. They are still, in fact, going to have to come down pit road and get some of that virtual damage banged on out here, but caution flag flies number 2 here, 2 laps shy of halfway.
So the field will line up in behind the pace car, and we will cross that halfway point here under this caution flag. So second yellow. I don't think anybody's going to come down and get tires because we didn't go that far when it comes to a run. Kenny Coppola going to be back up front, and that shakes the lineup up just a little bit. The leader on that last restart is no longer up front, and heavy damage to that thing. That's if it's not the night for Wayne Bowen, he's going to be on pit road for a while getting that thing repaired.
Yeah, and the only saving grace here, Bowen third place in points, advancing into the round of 8. So might try and use this for a little bit of a test session here and try and turn some laps, feel out the setup for next week's race, but might find himself down in the garage area, kicking back a couple of cold wobbly pops and planning his escape for next season here. And you can see Kenny Coppola still up front, lights still on in the iRacing pace car, and it wouldn't be right if we had ourselves a race here on Verdane TV. Kenny Cappola's leading it, and we didn't get a chance to talk to him here at halfway. Kenny, this is Paul up in the booth. You get a copy, brother?
Yeah, how you doing, brother?
Doesn't look like I'm doing as good as you, man. You won the last 2 races. You won on a road course with a broken freaking ankle, and here we are halfway at Atlanta. You're leading the race, brother.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time the past couple days building a setup for long runs here, so a little bit slower off the rip, but once it comes in, man, it's got plenty of speed.
And showing that speed here at Atlanta, been in the top 3 all evening long, and looks like newer colors there on the paint scheme. Want to give you an opportunity here. Looks like we got another lap or 2 before those lights go out on the pace car. What do we got going on with the paint scheme? What do we got going on with the sponsors?
Yeah, man, I picked up a new sponsor this past week, Sim Speed Shop. Anybody familiar, go check them out. They got a website, Facebook. They do a lot of great stuff, build wheels for disabled people so they can still race by hand, and pretty awesome company. Very grateful to have them on my car.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely going to check them out, get them linked up with the Verdane TV Facebook page as well. We got the JS Aquatics on there. The Sasquatch still on there, up in the front of the car, pulling that thing up towards the front and, well, pretty much leaving it there. You got anything for these guys the second half of the race? You got a game plan, or are we just going to try and shoot for a couple more long green runs?
I'm just hoping for green flags. There's a couple really fast cars up here, so if we can go green, I think we can take another one tonight.
Well, we'll let you get back to work behind the steering wheel of that virtual number 77 car. Hopefully we talk to you in 49 laps here at the end of the race.
Hope so, buddy.
And that's current points leader, current race guy leading the race leader. I don't know why I struggled with that, English language and all that. Kenny Coppola in the 77 car, having himself a phenomenal second half of the season here. Won 2 races in a row, broke his ankle, came in, won a road race, and currently leading here for the Peachtree 150. And man, 51 laps in the book here, Tim. 49 to go, 48 when we take that green flag once again. Been a relatively clean race, just a pair of cautions and some good racing here at Atlanta.
Yeah, and Kenny's chosen the outside, so he will go to the outside like Wayne Bowen did in the last restart. We'll see how that treats him. We got the 8 car to the inside. That'll be Kevin Ruff. Ed Boyle is going to be on the inside of row number 2, and we'll see what that 5 car can do. I said it before, and I'll say it again, and I hate to continue to beat the dead horse on it, but I think he's got something on the longer run. So if we can get a green flag rhythm back into this race, I think 5 is going to have something here for these boys up front. Pace car is in. 51 laps completed this time by for Kenny Coppola as he will see the green flag first. We are back underway, and a great start to the inside for Kevin Ruff in the 8.
5 and 8, bumper to bumper there on the inside. Worm on the outside, trying to push Kenny Coppola in the 77 car. They broke away just a little bit. But there you can see the 8 car. Kevin Ruff going to jump into the lead. 12 spots gained on the evening in that 8 car. He's going to slide on up and try and utilize that top side where Kenny Coppola is, and he's been all night long. Ed Boyles Jr. still locked into the round of 8, and he is still in the top 3, currently side by side with Kenny Coppola. Tim Wortman Jr. right in behind him. Dave Douthwaite has a front row seat to all this action from P5, and Bobby Justice continuing that steady climb in that discount tire number 2. on the outside of the top 5 looking in. He's gained 14 spots in the night. Tonight's biggest mover so far is that 2 car. You can see he is all over the back bumper of that 5th place driver.
And there's the caution flag. Third caution flag of the evening has flown, and we got one away to the inside wall there, and that will bring out the yellow flag once again. So we'll cue up the Kong Beer Bong instant replay to see what put us under the caution flag and what put that car down to the inside. The 16 car having a little bit of issues, and I think that's the 33 there that he might have a little contact with.
Yeah, Jameson Middleman, Guy Bonifield finding themselves together on the racetrack, and you can see the 16 car a little bit further on into the run. Tires lose a little bit of grip ski and lost the back end of that race car. Got a little bit on the sideways. Tried to correct it off the right-hand side of that 33 car of Guy Bonifield, but to no avail. Finds himself with heavy contact on the right side of that car and at that outside safer barrier here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. So some big-time damage on the 16 for Middleman. It's going to be a little bit of damage there for the 33 of Guy Bonifield there as well. So those guys are going to come down pit road, get the virtual hammers, and try and get everything straightened on out with that. But 54 laps in the books. Going to be crossing the stripe here, Tim, for lap 55. And it's still Coppola up front. Ruff, Wortman, Boyles, Douthwaite to top 5. Justice, Miller, Hume, Mackin, and Battles the top 10 here at Atlanta. 45 laps to go. It's been a pretty good race.
It has, but now we're into the rut of cautions breed cautions, and one on top of the other, and now these guys have an opportunity under this caution to kind of take a deep breath. And with the caution laps that we've had, it's that question or that one stopper idea that we had earlier comes into a bigger light because we haven't run a whole lot of green flag laps, and now you can make it, I would say, comfortably on one stop or pretty darn close to it. So that takes that equation out of the window if we do go green. So now it's an opportunity for these guys to kind of catch their breath, take a deep breath, and worry about what's to come. If you're Kenny Coppola, you've had a really good race so far, and it's been a great season by the sounds of it for the 77 team. But now he's waiting on those guys behind to find that rhythm and get some green flag racing back into this thing.
Yeah, we won about 45 laps or so, maybe 40 laps green flag. Saw some green flag pit stops earlier on here tonight, and haven't really seen any big incidents here throughout the first 55 laps of this race here at Atlanta for the Peachtree 150. So these drivers know that they got a little bit of time, but the closer we get to the end of this race, especially with as tight as the points are heading on in to tonight's race. We made mention Chris Spear on the outside looking in, 3 points outside of the bubble. Moffitt, 5 points outside of the bubble. Cook and Battle, 7 points and 14 points, respectively. They are trying to get themselves into the top 8. Wortman, Ruff, Bonifield, Douthwaite, and Hume, the 5 drivers that are currently in on points, and Coppola, Boyles, and Bowen, as we made mention earlier on here tonight, are the 3 drivers that are advancing into the round of 8. So going to wrap up tonight's race, set forth to the next 3 races, find ourselves 4 drivers that are going to be racing for a championship at Homestead Miami Speedway on January 26th here, crowning ourselves. It's going to be the very first champion here on Verdane TV in the 2022 season, the calendar year, as you made mention, the second year on the books here for the Lugz Cup Series. Trevor Apsher winning the first championship. Started the race here tonight, hasn't been running full-time here in the second season, but always good to see him at the track. Currently being scored 22nd, though, multiple laps down.
Yeah, the 19 did not answer the call to the green flag, so he is scored in behind, didn't turn a qualifying lap either here this evening. So we'll see what happens later on in the season with Mr. Apsher, but field looks like it is doubled up and should have the lights off the pace car this time. We'll be back to green next time by across the stripe. 56 laps completed, lights out around the racetrack, and we'll be back to green flag racing next time by.
And this is where the nerves start to kind of kick up just a little bit, especially if you're Kenny Coppola, who's up front. You know you've got a couple of wins in your pocket. You've got all the momentum on your side at this point, and you're just trying to take all the notes that you can. You know you're good. You're in the round of 8. You're going to be racing for that championship at least for 3 more weeks, but you got to keep that momentum rolling. You got to keep the wins coming, and you got to make sure that you're having good points nights. And Kenny Coppola been up front for a lot of the second half of this season, and You can see tonight no different outside, getting those tires warmed up. Rough on the inside, Wortman, Boyles, Douthwaite, the top 5, and you can see once again a lot of yellow banners up in the front running of the field. The top 5 drivers looking like they are championship contenders. Douthwaite is up there as well. Bobby Justice, that's number 2 car, still climbing up towards the front. He's going to be the first guy that's outside of championship contention. Still has a shot at that Bounty Hunter Challenge, a cool $110 bill. That's going to go to the winner of that. If anybody outside of the championship contention can come home with a victory in these last couple of races here, and it's been all championship contenders all season so far. Green flag out once again, and a little bit sloppy about the pack, but it looks like we can keep it all lined up.
A little bit of nervous energy, but so far so good as the field comes off in corner number 2. Coppola leads the field down the back straightaway, a little side-by-side for second and fourth as Boyles tries to take it away on the outside. Hello, I believe that might have been Justice going to the inside. Wayne Bowen, whatever was bent on that race car, he's got it fixed. He's up to 5th.
Making the magic happen there in the 11 car, and you can see Bobby Justice dropping like a rock in that number 2 car. Lost a whole bunch of positions there, and trying to get that sorted back out. Lost all sorts of positions. Still struggling with the handling on that race car. Going to go all the way back here to the 17th position. That's a tough break for the number 2 car after climbing all the way up to just right outside the top 5. That's a tight battle there for second. The 8 car sliding on up in front of the 5 of Boyles. Rough trying to hold on to the P2 spot. He's got a mirror full, though, of Ed Boyles Jr., who's got a left side mirror, or left side windshield, left side window, full of the 0 of Tim Wortman Jr., trying to take away forward.
Yeah, Rough gets by Boyles and Wortman going at it, and I'm impressed with the way the 11 car is running, considering how it looks. That thing looks like it hit a power pole. Probably shouldn't be up near the front of the field, Paul, but somehow that 11 car is up here battling for the lead position. Coppola not too far away from this battle for second on back, about 3 lengths away, as the 5 gets a great run into the corner, trying to hold it on the way out. He can't do so, and then here goes that 11 to the inside. I'm impressed.
Cautiously optimistic for that 11 car, making sure that all the zip ties and bubblegum hold that thing together. Virtual pit crew doing a phenomenal job with the 11 car. Bowen, big time contact earlier on. Now he's up in the top 5. He's got a mirror full of Wortman down on the inside now, but still has his sights set on a good run here tonight. Wants to show everybody that even though he is locked in to the round of 8, he still wants to make sure he's consistent. He wants to keep that momentum going. He wants to keep the good runs going as well. So a good rebound for Wayne Bowen in the 11 car, currently in the P4 position, kind of in between Ed Boyles Jr., who's running in 3rd, and Tim Wortman Jr., who's right in behind him in 5th. All top 5 drivers, all single file here at this point. We got to drop back just a little bit to find Mr. Douthwaite in the 34 car. About almost 3 seconds behind the leader here. He's got Matt Mackin and a couple of other drivers. There's Hume Sr. in the 1 car right in it with him, and everybody else just kind of peppered on in here at this point. A little bit of a long green flag run feel to it.
We'll see if they can continue that up. Is a little bit of side-by-side there. Gets back to single file. The 00 Tim Wortman Jr. was able to get by the 11 of Bowen, and now works to the outside of the 5 of Ed Boyles as they'll go side-by-side. Yeah, the 00 seems to have a little bit of pep to his step in the early times of this run, and as long as he doesn't put those tires off and run those tires off, I think he'll be fine, Paul, but the 00 showing a lot of strength here.
And that's one of the things we're going to have to keep an eye on here, Tim. If this thing does go green flag, we saw some of the drivers struggle just a little bit as we got deeper and deeper into that first long green flag run. The tires start to wear just a little bit. We made mention up in that high side, the rubber balls that kind of fall off the tires, they go up the racetrack, and it makes it very, very loose on the high side. We see a lot of drivers kind of shoot on up there as the later portion of the race gets on. So it's going to be interesting. I don't see too many guys running that high, wide, and handsome line right now, but we still have 35 laps to go here at Atlanta. Long time to go, a short time to get there. A long way to go, a short time to get there, and we're going to find out who's going to win this race. But man, Kenny Capola, 7/10 of a second to lead over Ruff, and he's got about 1/10 of a second over the third place driver. Now Tim Wortman Jr., you can see that's the battle on your screen between the 8 and the 00. The 8 trying to take a peek down low, trying to get some clean air on that nose and make it happen, but the 8 car holding on to P2 for now.
Yeah, hanging on to that second place position, but he's got some company with Wortman right in behind him, trying to make that charge and make that challenge to the front. Kenny Capola has pulled away by about 7 lengths or so to this battle for the second place position. There is the 5 on your screen of Ed Boyle Jr. in 4th and Wayne Bowen. That charge, that challenge that he made is now going backwards, because here comes Luke Wade on the inside, and Keith Hume Sr. are a part of this battle as well.
It makes me wonder what's going on underneath the hood, or underneath the bubble wrap there on the 11 car. Ran up into the top 5, still holding on to 5th right now, but you can see Dave Douthwaite going to sneak on down to the bottom side and give it to him that lap, and it looks like he's going to take the number 1 car down on the bottom side through with him, so move the 11 car back to the 7th position. Still solidly in the top 10, still solidly in this championship hunt. He's advancing on to the round of 8, but not quite the run he was looking for here at Atlanta.
Oh, absolutely not. Falling back with that damage. I was impressed with the way he was able to carve through the field and with what he had for damage, but still hanging up in the top 10. That's got to be a win, considering what that car looks like. And we've got a battle on our hands now as the 5 has fallen back a little bit now on this battle. I'm not sure where the 5 came from, because he was close towards the front of this field, and now he's falling back now and behind the 11. So comers and goers, maybe they burn the tires off on some of these cars.
Yeah, we're going to lap number 69. Nice here, and you can see the 5 car a little bit loose in the back end, kind of as he was down on the bottom side of the 11 car, almost lost the back end of the race car, was able to kind of back out of the throttle and collect it back up. So I'm going to chalk that up as tire wear. You can see he's about 3.5, almost 4 seconds now behind the leader. Another 3 seconds on back to Ken Eller in 8th place. And looks like there's a little bit of action going on here. So these drivers right inside or right outside the top 10. Everybody pretty much spread out here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway with 30 laps to go. Long green flag run feel to it, but Kenny Capola is still out front, 1.5 seconds over the leader, over the second place driver, Kevin Ruff.
And that is a battle, as the 00 is glued to the back bumper of the number 8. As he's been quietly consistent on the back bumper, hasn't been making any of those moves that he made a little bit earlier. I don't know if the tires have kind of peaked on this 00 car, but he's right there. He's waiting to make a move on the 8 car as we work down into corner number 3. 30 laps remaining in this race. They continue to click off, and keep in mind, Paul, they have to make one more stop. Not sure if anybody is going to short, but considering the way some of these guys came down pit road, had to avoid each other under the green flag run, I don't know if a short pit would be the option, but you'd have to believe in the next 3 or 4 laps, the window at least is going to open to make it to the end of this race.
Yeah, less than 30 laps to go here at this point. We saw these drivers were able to make it anywhere between 40 and 40 laps there on that first set of green flag pit stops. So we know these drivers can make it from here on one more stop. And the question you just made mention to, Tim, when are these guys going to come down? Do you want to come down with the group? Do you want to chance it? Maybe hope that this thing stays green for the final 27 laps and get down there, take advantage of the 4 fresh tires and get a couple of faster lap times from everybody else? Or do you maybe split it in half, come down, take 2 tires, get a little bit of track position out of it? It's really tough to tell because everybody's going to have to pretty much fill up the gas tank. So I don't think you're going to save a whole bunch of time just taking 2 tires. I think you're better off taking 4, especially here at Atlanta. But again, that's we've made the joke a couple of times here tonight, here on the 3rd show of the evening. That's why I'm in the TV booth and not behind one of these virtual race cars.
Absolutely. Battle continues on. The 00 of Wortman, but 2 lengths back now on Ruff as they work at it for the second place position. And that little dot, that far little dot that just went past the speed shot there, that is your leader, Kenny Capola. He is far and away from the rest of this field. Almost 2 seconds the advantage. And he's coming down to the pit road. There's that window that is open, and Capola going to come down, and the field behind also going to come down. Ruff, Wortman, and Hume among them coming down to pit road.
Top 7 drivers coming down, a couple more drivers outside of the top 10 as well. Michael Miller, Josh Battles, Derek Cook stay out on the racetrack. Colin Ziemer out on the racetrack. Everybody else coming on down, and this is going to be the moment of truth. 77, Kenny Capola pretty much showing his cards. He's going to come down pit road, and that's one of the disadvantages of having almost a 2-second lead. Everybody knows when you come down, Tim Wortman not quite up to his pit sign. Going to delay just a little bit, but everybody getting service. There you see the left side going up on the 77 car. He's going to get 4 tires and away. Ruff gets 4 tires. Everybody appears to be taking 4 tires here at this point. Miller going to hold on to the lead, though, for a couple of laps. 6 drivers out on track. Still out on track here. Bobby Justice going to come down from the 6th spot. Miller battles Cook, Ziemer, Spear. The top 5 drivers still out on track. Kenny Capola and Kevin Ruff. They're going to come out just in front of the leaders, it looks like, in the 7th and 8th spots respectively. But it's going to be a dogfight to get on pit road for this second group and for the lead as well. There you see the 41 of Battles trying to get around Michael Miller. Michael Miller slowing down for a pit stop. Still driver staying out. There's the 8. He's going to go get his lap back. And again, Tim, we find ourselves in a situation where half the field is slow on old tires and the other half feels like Superman because they got 4 fresh Mr. Feelgoods.
Kept my eye on Tim Wortman Jr. as he was exiting pit road. He had to battle with, I believe it was Wayne Bowen and Keith Hughes Sr. coming off of pit road. It was a tight little battle for him. He had to let off of the gas to not, A, wreck his race car, and B, wreck the other cars around him. But he's got some work to do now. This should be the final stop of the evening. If you can conserve your stuff, you should be able to make it to the end of the race based on what we have seen so far with 28, 30 lap runs-ish on these tires. So Josh Battles is your leader, and with the way the cautions flew earlier, he should be able to stay out here for a couple laps.
He's got about a 4-second lead over Ziemer and Spear, who are going to be side by side or bumper to bumper there for 2nd and 3rd. Those are the 3 drivers that are still out on track. Kenny Capola making up some big time in the 77 car with 4 fresh tires, and you can see that ticker from the 4th place spot just dropping as he's much quicker than these guys on older tires. And they're hoping for a caution at this point. There you can see Battles still up in front with that 4.5 second or so lead. Spear in 2nd, and a caution flag right now would be phenomenal for Spear. We made mention earlier on in the show, he came in at 3 points outside of the bubble for that round of 8. The championship drivers came in with a super hot season earlier on in the year, and just as we got into the second half, not quite performing up to par. And I mean, you figure his measuring stick is going to be his teammate, Kenny Capola, currently running in 4th right now, the first driver that's got those 4 fresh tires. He's won the past 2 races. He's the points leader right now, and he's locked into the round of 8, Kenny Capola, in the 77 car. So definitely going to be a little bit of note sharing, I think, over the next 4 weeks as we get closer and closer to the championship showdown here at Homestead Miami Speedway. I don't think they're going to be showing all the cards, though. It's going to be one of those things you can kind of cooperate with your teammate just a bit, but you don't want to show all the cards. And there you can see our leader, Josh Battles, going to come down pit road here with 21 laps to go, 20 as we cross the stripe. Chris Spear's going to stay out. He's going to lead himself a lap.
Yeah, leads a lap, gets that number 7 car some air time, and the 32 is scored in position number 2 of Ziemer, and he led some laps a little bit earlier on the green flag pit stop run, I do believe, and he a little slide from that number 32 as we went to him there off corner number 2.
And as these couple of drivers that are still out on track, you can see Spear losing a little bit of time now to Colin Ziemer, who's closing right up in his back bumper. These guys have lost a lot of time on track because they've been out on those older tires. You can see Kenny Capola now 14 seconds behind the leader of Chris Spear and counting. Coming in a hurry, the 7 and the 32. Really hoping for a caution here in the final 20 laps to try and get themselves a little bit of track position, come down, get some fuel, get some tires, and get back into this dogfight. But in order for that to happen, gonna need a late race caution here. 19 laps to go. You can see the 14 car trying to drive on down. He gets around Ziemer. He's going to set his sights on Spear and try and get one of his laps back the hard way.
There's battles throughout this racetrack right now, Paul, with the differing strategies. Caught my eye off of Keith Humes Sr. and Tim Wortman Jr. as we see the lead change hands. Spear to pit road. Ziemer will take the lead. Capola will head back to lead once the 32 decides to come down to the pit road. But Wardman looked like he was on his way towards the front and picking up a couple of spots, and he's going to challenge again here with Keith Hume Sr., but Hume made a nice little pass here a couple laps ago and has Wortman thinking, trying to get by him as they work down the back straightaway.
And these guys have been racing with each other for 2 seasons now, almost 2 full seasons. And it's been great to watch this series grow and watch the teammates work together and the enemies not so much, and lots of cool different things going on in the Loose Lug Cup Series, and always great to follow along here on the racetrack and on Verdane TV as well. Check these guys out on Facebook as well. Loose Lugs Cup Series, always great to be caught up with all the points. Ooh, car down on the bottom side. It looked like that was the number 7 of Chris Spear, and in fact it was. A little bit more damage on the front end of that car, but he's gathering it back up. That 7 butt kicker machine down and rolling again. Doesn't look like he's going to be in championship contention after tonight's race here, currently being scored a lap down in the 17th position. We stay green flag. Oh, but for how long? There's Zemer, big time slide in front of the 41 as he was trying to get around him to get his lap back. Josh battles hard on the binders, doesn't quite make contact. He's going to go around the high side, get that lap back the hard way with Colin Zemer screaming at his pit crew, wanting to get some tires. The 41 up into the wall just a little bit, trying to get on around, but Zemer's going to stay out for one more lap. Kenny Coppola is coming in a hurry. 5 seconds and counting.
Yeah, well, we saw what happened with that number 7 of Chris Spear a little bit earlier. If that would have brought the caution out, Colin Zemer would have, I think he would have had the lead and the pit strategy, and it would have been enough time for those guys behind him to follow him down on the pit road. So he's kind of hoping for a yellow flag, but he's going to run it dry, and he's going to run it down to the pit road here. So the 32 car will surrender the lead to come down to the pit road. Kenny Coppola will go back to the top spot. There he goes at a corner number 4, and the 77 will go back to the point. Now, the question is, 14 laps remaining in this race. Can he finish it off with the exclamation point on it and drive away with this win to cap off the round of 12?
And that's one of the things we actually asked Richmond 2 races ago on December 8th. Kenny Coppola won that race. We asked him here in the booth after the race, what's your plans? You're already locked in. Are we going to see you kind of take notes? He says, no, I want to win this round. I want to win all 3 races. 2/3 of that in the book. 1 Richmond, 1 at the Roval last time we were on the air here, December 15th, 2 weeks ago at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and showing he's got the dominant car, dominant plan, and the dominant number 77 car. He's got almost a 3-second lead now over Kevin Ruff, and he wants to enter this championship round of 8 with an absolute bang. He wants to sweep the round and come home with a victory. And he won earlier on in the season, the very first race, first points race, 84 lapper, the Secret Simulations 200 at Daytona. So from the word go, Kenny Coppola really been the car to beat, especially here in the second half of the season, burning that whip from both ends, and definitely looks like he's going to be a championship contender come Homestead.
Yeah, working his way around here. It just looks so smooth. Haven't really seen him drop anything. He had that little slide earlier, about 25 laps into this race. But you look at him drive this race car, the wheel not really dipping a whole bunch, just smooth around this racetrack and doing what he has to do. He'll come by this time, complete lap number 89, 11 laps to go.
Yeah, nice and smooth on both the wheel and the steering wheel and the pedals. You can hear off the throttle, not really on the brakes, and easing back into it. A very similar style to a friend of both of yours and myself, John Adams, synonymous with the number 84, big-time sim racer. Got Kurt Busch fired way back when, but we don't want to talk about that, especially on his birthday. Got to give John Adams a shout-out, birthday shout-out. Good friend of mine, good friend of yours, Tim, and I think he turned 22 or something today, but it's his birthday today. So happy birthday, John. I hope you're having fun. You may or may not be watching, might be streaming, might be hanging out with Uncle Al. But happy birthday, John. Probably jump on and do some Twitch streaming with you here. But very similar styles between John Adams and Kenny Coppola as far as the sim racing go. I'd like to see those 2 guys kind of duking out on the track just a little bit.
Yeah, it'd be kind of neat to see those 2 go at it, and great to see the driving style. He's pulling away. Kenny Coppola, it's not that he's maintaining the lead. He is pulling away. It was 2 seconds at one point. Now it's up to 3 and tacked off another 10th that lap too. So Coppola doing what he has to do here in the waning couple laps. He's hoping that this thing stays green to the end and he can find his way into victory lane. But there's still plenty of positions to be had here at the end of this one to settle it out. And looking at the 5 and the 9, I think is the closest battle on the racetrack. Well, you see that one on your screen as the 32 tries to pick his way through. Mack into the inside of the 5 of Boyles, and this is a good little battle right here. The 7 of Spear behind is not for position, but these two are putting on a show. This is 9 and 10.
A couple of Hendrick Motorsports teammates working on putting on a little bit of a show. There you see Chris Spear again outside of the lead lap here. The 5 still in championship contention. Boyles is locked in for the round of 8, but on points. But the 9 car is not. He's going to be one of those drivers going for that challenge here that we've got going on, the Bounty Hunter Challenge, up to $110 for any of the drivers outside of the championship contention that can come home with a victory here. But when you look at this championship roster, Coppola, Boyles, and Bowen already locked in. Wortman having himself a good run, came in 16 points above the bubble. He's going to be almost a shoe-in. Ruff having a great run, running in second. He came in 9 points to the good. Douthwaite, Bonifield down in 12th right now, 6 points up. Douthwaite 4 points up. He's currently running in third. And Keith Hume Sr., the last driver on the bubble, 3 points to the good, and he's running in the 5th position. There he is, top 5. And Spear, Moffitt, Cook, Battles still trying to see what they can get here for the final 6 laps of this race, try and make up just a little bit of ground. And we're going to stay on the air until we get those points. We got word from the race officials before we took the green flag here this evening. They're going to do everything in their power to try and get us the points as quickly as we can to see who's going to be racing for this championship. But 5 laps to go. High five from Barney in the flag stand. Kenny Capoli's got a 28-second lead over second place Kevin Ruff. Nice and smooth in that 77 car. A little bit of a slide there, Tim. Just trying to put on a show for the fans here at this point. Looks like Kenny Capola may very well have this one in the bag.
And for the most part, these drivers are in behind have found a place to race. Battles, Bonnetfield, and Justice are kind of close around 12th, 13th, and 14th, but that's more in front of the leader as it is behind the leader right now as they're coming around to lap. Those guys, Tim Wortman Jr. made a move on Keith Hume Sr. a couple laps ago. They've been going back and forth to the nail all race long, but I think he might run out of time to catch Douthwaite in the 34 before this thing is all said and done. So there's still some battles to be decided. Boyles and Mackin going at it, but for the most part, and we've seen late cautions change everything. Unless somebody makes a slip, this thing may be signed, sealed, and delivered with 3 years ago.
And you can see there on the Badane TV ticker on the left-hand side of your screen, that lead, Kenny Capola is growing closer and closer to that 4-second mark over Kevin Ruff in second. Dave Douthwaite, Tim Wortman, and Keith Hume Sr., the top 5. And just taking a look, those numbers keep growing. Kenny Capola just pulling away from this field. You can look out the windshield, nobody out in front of him, and he's got Colin Ziemer about 15 car lengths behind him, so really nowhere to go but victory lane here at this point. Popsicle sticks in the air. 2 laps to go for Kenny Capola. A little bit better than 4 seconds of a lead now over that second place driver, and we've seen this driver get real excited throughout the season, but we've also seen him stay cool, calm, and collected. That 77 car looking good down in a 3 and 4. Just has to hit his marks here for the final lap, Tim, but we might see a 3-peat winner here for the very first time in the Loose Lugz Cup Series Season 2.
Yeah, doing a great job up in front. White flag is out for the 77. Kenny Capola has 1 more lap to get it done, and just so smooth here this evening. Was able to get a lead off of the final round of green flag pit stops, hold it, and be able to ride that thing as long as he can make it past 3 and 4, Paul, to victory lane. Smooth performance from the 77.
Doing exactly what he needs to do to show everybody watching at home and everybody in the field here as well. He is championship material. Swept the round of 12. Kenny Capola coming home with 1 more victory in that 77 camp. It's going to be very exciting to talk to that driver, talk to him about mid-race or so, and very excited to have Kenny Capola win 1 more race here. Kevin Ruff, Dave Douthwaite going to be the podium drivers. We're going to talk to those guys here as well in their post-race show, and we'll get all the graphics up on your screen to show you exactly where your favorite driver finished throughout this one. But Kenny Coppola, man, strong run here. New sponsor on board, the simspeedshop.com. Number 77 finds himself in victory lane.
I'm going to light it up here on the front straightaway. A dominant performance this evening. One small little slip around that lap 25 marker, so Paul, that allowed Wayne Bowen to have a little bit of a glimmer of hope. That's about all it was as Coppola finished the job, wrapped it up, and lights it up here on the front straightaway as the winner of the Peach State 150, and goes into the round of 8 with a huge boatload of momentum.
100%. You can see the finishing order on your screen. Kenny Coppola coming home with another victory here in the Lugz Season 2. Cabin Rough, Dave Douthwaite, we made mention. We're going to talk to those 3 drivers here in the post-race show. Tim Wortman Jr., Wayne Bowen rounding out the top 5. Keith Hume, Ken Ellert, Michael Miller, Ed Boyles Jr., and Matt Mack in the top 10. We're going to get those point standings to you here heading into the round of 8, but we'll get that as soon as we can. Little burnout action happening on the track. Pretty cool to see when these guys get together on the racetrack, and pretty cool to see Kenny Coppola in victory lane. How about it, man? Daytona, Martinsville, Richmond, Charlotte Roval with a broken ankle, and now Atlanta. Brother, you are on fire heading into this championship round of 8.
Man, that was a race, man. I love running long green flag laps. My car was just hooked up tonight. I hit about 10, 12 laps, and she come in for me and just run, dude.
Making the long green flag runs look easy here, and had a couple of them here tonight. A great race all the way throughout, just a handful of cautions, no real big incidents, and you can see the top 3 drivers parked there on, or you can see some teammates there parked on the start-finish line with the celebration, and momentum is on your side. You're not locked into the championship just yet, but you're locked into the round of 8 after sweeping the round of 12. And you and I had that conversation a few weeks back after winning Richmond. I remember it up here in the booth. I said, hey, what are you going to do the next couple weeks? Because I'm going to go out and I'm going to sweep the rounds. And so here we go. So we got 3 races left. We got Talladega next week. That's going to be a blast. Nashville Fairgrounds, Las Vegas, and then the championship race at Homestead, Miami. Kenny, I'm going to put you on the spot. What's going on these next 4 races? Where's the 77 car going to land?
Hopefully in victory lane, man. I'm a big fan of Talladega, even though it's hit or miss. Anything can happen there, but I've been spending a lot of time in the seat, and it's definitely paying off lately. I want to congratulate my teammates, though. We took a top 4 sweep tonight, so everybody was running good tonight, man. We were on fire, and I know we'll be coming back next week with some strong cars again. Not sure what kind of strategy we're going to play yet or not, but honestly, the mile and a halves have been a struggle for me this year. And tonight was all about just saving your tires. That's all it came down to. You got to save your equipment out here.
100%. You made mention on to Talladega next week, and that's going to be something to definitely have a couple of teammates in the back pocket there for that race. Looking forward to watching it here live on Verdane TV as well next Wednesday night here as we kick off the round of 8. But Kenny, I want to give you the opportunity here. We know we got some awesome teammates. Top 4 here tonight. You got some new sponsors on the car, some new colors, as it were. I want to give you the opportunity to thank any friends, family, sponsors, anybody that gets it done here for the virtual 77 machine.
Yeah, I definitely want to thank all my friends, the ones who watch these every Wednesday night. My parents, I want to thank my wife. She's pretty awesome. Actually got me started into iRacing when COVID shut everything down, showed up with a steering wheel the next morning for me and said, get what I need. I couldn't do it without her and all her hard work. I want to thank my new sponsor, Sim Speed Shop. It's a pleasure putting this thing in victory lane the first night I run for them. And then obviously my team, Warrior Racing Esports, Warrior Wraps, Pulse Poppers. We got a couple new sponsors through them, Track Bar Media, Pointer, and Matuis. Shea Setup Shop, I believe. But man, everybody that just puts this together, you, Paulette, Bogdan are awesome. Love watching these broadcasts, and my teammates, I couldn't do without these guys pushing me to be better and better every week.
And it's definitely shown here in the second half of season 2, man. You've been on fire, been on a roll, and heading just a little bit closer to a championship run. We're on to Talladega next week. Hopefully we'll be talking in the podium finish here after next week's race.
Hope to see you again, man.
100%. Congratulations. That's going to be Kenny Capola. 5 wins now on the season, including the season opener at Daytona. So heading into Talladega next week, Tim, that's definitely something that we're going to be keeping an eye on. But speaking of keeping an eye on, I believe you're down pit road just a little bit further, caught up with our second place finisher, the number 8 car of Kevin Ruff.
Yeah, Kevin Ruff had an opportunity to have a shot at the lead on the last restart, but comes home in position number 2. But Kevin, let's talk about the battle between you and the 34. David coming up at the end. What did you have to do in those final couple laps to hold off the challenger in behind?
Well, he had a fast car, and we are kind of satellite teammates, so we were running the same setup, and just had to run the line that he was running. I knew it was going to be hard for Dave. He could have rattled my cage a little bit if he wanted to, but me and Dave, we got a lot of respect for one another, and if he was in front of me in that position, I wouldn't have done the same to him. That's just how we all race over there at the RCR channel. So really good race tonight. Had a blast. Just hate the little mishap that happened on lap 1 between me and Jimmy, and I know Jimmy didn't mean it. We had a conversation after the race about that, but it cost me about 23 seconds of damage, and I never got it fixed. So with the pit stops, it got it down to about 16. I think I may have been able to give Kenny a little bit more of a run and try to challenge him up there, because aero-wise, I was just a little bit tight later in the run from that damage on the right front.
And miraculous that you were able to get some of that damage fixed, especially with 2 green flag pit stops tonight. We saw a couple of cars on edge really coming down and trying to attack that line, get everything that they needed. How was your car coming down onto pit road, and how did you manage those pit ins on green flag pit stops?
I knew I was comfortably point-wise, to get into the round of 8, and Atlanta's my favorite track, so once I had that damage, I was just being conservative, and I just kind of, just like, another split second, just hitting my brakes than normally, because normally I would go pretty hard to the pit road line, but I just didn't want to get any penalties or anything and, cost myself to not make the round of 8.
Kenny's been quick. What are you going to do in the round of 8 to not only get ahead of Kenny, but lock yourself into that championship round coming up?
Just going to have to give him a run for his money. I respect the hell out of Kenny. Kenny's a good driver. We always bull crap in the chat during the race, all of us do. And, I love everybody in that chat, just enjoy racing with each and every one of them, week in and week out. But Kenny's a good racer, man. He's beat us on a controller at a road course. He's beat us here tonight. I mean, Kenny is fast. Kenny's good, but Kevin knows how to come in the clutch when the moment matters. So we'll see how it goes down.
You got some sponsors on this race car. You got some teammates who makes it happen for you to get to the virtual racetrack.
Well, in real life, I actually work for Goodyear, store manager for them. So that's why I always like representing Goodyear on my cars. Want to give a shout out to Chris Spear, one of my satellite teammates. He designs those cars for me with the Goodyear logos on them. So I really appreciate him doing that for me. Gets to show, who I work for and what I love doing for a living. Shout out to Dave, Tim, Kenny, Jameson, everybody that is in that stable with us in the RCR chat week in and week out. I couldn't do it without them. And just have a blast every week, man. It's so much fun in this league.
And another great run for this 8-car. Kevin Ruff going to move to the round of 8, Paul, and little bit of confidence going in. And this should be a good little battle in this round of 8 going towards the Loose Lugz Championship. I believe you've caught up at 3rd place.
That I have, and that's going to be Dave Douthwaite in the number 34 car. Strong all night long, and coming home with a podium finish here, running in the top after running in the top 5 for pretty much the whole second half of the race here. Talk to us, Dave. Great run here at Atlanta for the Peachtree 150.
Yeah, it was a good run. Kenny, as always, I like finishing behind Kenny apparently because it's what I do really well the last 2 weeks. No, it was a good run. Pit road, I practiced pit road quite a bit. That paid off towards the end, got me around a couple people on that last green flag stop. It was just a good overall race. Can't complain one bit. Great teammates and just all around good race.
Lots of different strategies getting thrown into this one. Had a couple of long green flag runs, some green flag pit stops, a couple of little short hiccups there throughout the middle of the race, but still came home with a top 3, a third-place finish here for the number 34 car. And just taking a quick peek here at the post-it note, Douthwaite is locked in to the points, as is Coppola, but we already knew that after he won all 3 races in the round of 12 here. And Wayne Bowen, or check that, Wayne Bowen is in, Kevin Ruffin is in as well. So all 3 top 3 finishers here tonight, racing for a championship here over the next couple of weeks. And we made mention Talladega next week. You got anything for these guys? Is that kind of a hit or miss track, or are you going to come home with a victory here, try and get yourself locked into that championship race at Homestead?
Well, I, like just about everybody else in this league, probably have done a couple hundred Talladega races. So, yeah, it's going to be a crapshoot. Going to have to stay out of trouble. We have a really good stable of teammates here. I mean, if you look at the those of us that transferred into the round of 8, I think over half of them are on our team. So we'll be working together, but working against each other simultaneously. But everybody else better have their head on a swivel.
A little bit of co-opetition here with the final 4 races of the season, getting closer and closer to that championship showdown at Homestead Miami Speedway here in the last week of January. And we're going to be carrying all the action here on Verdane TV, and we're heading on into Talladega next week. Dave, want to give you just a quick opportunity here. Thank any friends, family, sponsors. We know you got some of the best teammates in the league here, but who gets it done for the Virtual 34 team?
As a retired military man myself, the Till Valhalla Project bringing awareness to, the average of 22 veterans a day that unfortunately commit suicide. You can always reach out. There's numerous outreach opportunities at the Till Valhalla Project, or My Veteran Passion, or Military One Source. There's always somebody for you to call and reach out to. So first and foremost, that, and then you mentioned my teammates and my wife. She lets me sit down here for hours at a time. It doesn't bother me, so that's always awesome too.
100%. And great to come home with the top 3. You're racing for a championship still, and on to Talladega next week. We'll see you then.
All right, later, buddy.
Good run for those top 3 drivers. And we've got our championship 8, Tim, taking a peek here at the sticky note. Ed Boyles Jr., Kenny Coppola, Wayne Bowen. We know those 3 guys were in. They're still in. Guy Bonifield, Dave Douthwaite, Keith Hume Sr., Kevin Ruff, Tim Wortman Jr. going to be the 8 drivers that are going to be fighting for that championship. They're looking for 4 spots at Homestead Miami Speedway. Chris Spear on the outside looking in, not able to make it into that top 8. So not going to be the season that he was looking forward to rather. But with Kenny Coppola winning, another championship driver winning the race, the Bounty Hunter Challenge goes up once again. So with Talladega being a crapshoot, from what we're hearing with all these drivers, we might see somebody come home with a little bit of coin from the racetrack next week.
Yeah, this might be the night that the bounty is collected one more time, but those 8 are solid drivers. It's going to be a great battle in this round of 8 coming up, and then who's going to punch their ticket into the championship for 8 really good drivers. You're going to have to be on your game in Talladega. Probably going to be the best opportunity for some of those drivers to maybe beat Kenny, who's had that hot hand the last couple of weeks. But a busy night done on Verdane TV. 3 shows between the Tim's Corner Live, the NEPS All-Star Race, and now the Lugz Cup Series completed. And we're back tomorrow night with the NEPS Series. They're going to race at Charlotte for their points race, and a couple of days off, and then a busy week to kick off 2022.
Yeah, looking forward to next week. It looks like things are kind of getting ramped up. We didn't want to ink too much getting into the early 2022 season because we wanted to see kind of, with myself, what's going on for work as well as what's going on with COVID. And unfortunately, with this new variant, this second wave of it, and I hate to talk about COVID on the air like this. I try to keep it just to racing and sim racing, but it seems like a lot of people are getting sick this time around. So we might be doing a little bit more virtual racing as folks are having to stay home, and we'll see what that does with the regular racing season. Numbers are cranked up, and we won't get into that. Kind of a Debbie Downer with that, but we'll see what goes on with the Verdane TV and the iRacing and the sim racing world. But next week, you made mention, Tim, I think we're a go. We got the thumbs up for Monday night. Little Eastbound Esports back with TCM doubleheader action, double action, as it were. The NEPS Oxford 250 qualifying night.
Paul?
Yes, Tim.
We can confirm, because I've been talking to Mike James, the double is a Stafford Super Late Model double.
Oh, we are in there. We're going to have to see if Corey Casagrande wants to win or wants to run.
I'm sure he'd run with the Eastbound guys. I'm sure we could get that going there. We'll have to have a conversation with him. But yes, Stafford next week. I believe the eastbound race is going to be a 75, 2 races in between, and we might bring back the time attack. We did that last year for the Tim's Corner stuff on the super late side, so we might bring that back, but just confirmed with Mike James, it will be a 75 lapper at Stafford for the supers for eastbound, and then we'll roll with the open stuff with TCM. So anybody that wants to take a part of that can do so. Just head over to the Tim's Corner Facebook page, drop us a message. We'll get you a league invite. And then Tuesday night, I believe, is the NEPS Super Late Model Oxford qualifier to make their way into the Oxford 250 the next week on the 15th. Tim's Corner Live and Loose Lugz back on Wednesday night. And is NEPS running Thursday next week?
No Thursday next week, potentially Saturday. It might be the 15th for the Oxford 250. I have to double check the schedule on that. But no NEPS next Thursday. And then the week after that, we may as well roll right into it. The DCM Jim Hallahan 333. That's going to be the second running of that on January 9th. Really looking forward to that. We got any details on that one yet, Tim?
We do. We're up to 31 entries, I think, free entry. So if you want to get into that race in honor of Canadian racing legend Jim Hallahan, timscorner.ca/Jim Hallahan 333, or you can find it on the main page at timscorner.ca and sign up for that one. No entry fee. Just trying to gauge numbers, Paul, because with qualifiers and everything else, with the way it looks right now, if we have 40 to 45, we may do a one-day show to get that thing in on the Sunday only. So you might get a couple of bonus heat races on that broadcast on Sunday as well. But nevertheless, head over to timscorner.ca to get a part of that one. And it's shaping up to be a good show. It's a long show. It's Bristol. It's the super late models. Strategy comes into play. It's always a fun afternoon for the longest race of the Tim's Corner season.
100%. And it's always a fun one, and it's always fun to listen to the guys in the booth come up with all sorts of stories to fill in some of the quote-unquote dead air. So really looking forward to that one coming up here. Lots of action here on Verdane TV, penned in as well as penciled in, and lots of cool stuff still in the works here as well. But for the very third time in the evening, I'm going to go play some Grand Theft Auto. We'll catch you on the flip side. When we do, we'll be doing it live.